So one of the main questions that people have every day who are in depression for like a long time, like a decade or longer, is the question when things are back to normal again. Or the other question is, but which is connected to this first one, is like when does it stop? Usually when you do like this kind of work to help people out of depression who are in for a longer time, usually you are trying to change the fuse. So you're trying to replace certain questions or certain narratives so you can see the world differently and act differently. Because the reason why depression is there is to change your mind, to change your perspectives. That's what the healing force of depression does. And if you ask yourself, when is it normal again, or when is it back to normal again, or when are we back to normal, you are getting a lot of answers which you may not like. The same reason like the question that starts the negative symptoms of depression, which is, what's wrong with me? Or why is this happening to me? That's the opening question for the negative results of depression. Depression itself doesn't feel bad. It's the questions that create that hardcore experience. The same question is here, when are we back at normal? Or when does it stop? This is a question that you cannot just turn around. You cannot just self-correct it by changing the question. Because of course, if you ask yourself, when is it normal again? You get a lot of negative answers, because that's what the builder of solutions in your mind is going to do. So you could turn it around to get at least some answers that are positive or which you can use. But for this case, it's not enough, because this question usually is one of the core points of depression. It goes to the core. And if you think about it, then you are going to realize that it comes with it's like a two-part question. It has like two important components inside. First, normal. And second, again. So we have a time component and a definition component, right? Normal is, what does it even mean? And again means you're going back. And none of those two will work. You cannot go back, and it will never be normal again as you know it. That is what depression is. It brings you from one side through the tunnel or over the sea or through the void to the other side. So you will never be again on this side. You will never be at the same place again, the same person again, the same thoughts again. None of those. You won't have the same friends, the same circle, the same job, the same interests. All of that will be wiped or flushed away in that process. And in this case, it was really interesting, because that's something that happens to a lot of high achievers. Because why can somebody become a high achiever in life? How can somebody make a lot of money? Usually, it's not the intellect, it's not the hustle, it's not the grind, it's not the willpower, it's not consistency. Of course, those parts are part, but it's not the main reason. The main reason for most very high achievers financially is the definition that they have and the view of the world that they have with an outcome, with having things, with results. Because outcomes and results and having things are connected to self-worth or connected to love. And if you don't have those things, you're worth nothing. You're not worth to be loved. You don't deserve anything. And if you now turn it back into your childhood, this would mean that you're going to die as a child. Because if you're not getting love, no love as a child means death. There's a study with babies where they gave food and everything to the babies, but what they didn't give is love, or they didn't talk to the babies, and children were dying. So that's what it means, because we are, of course, now in time, now 30, 40 years old, but it doesn't matter. Time does not play a role in this thinking. Everything is now. The same like things from the childhood, concepts, mindsets, perspectives are still now. That's how inner child work is also now. It was never in the past. Everything is happening now. So this basically is one of the main issues. And if you now go back to your childhood, then you see that most people who are very successful in life and experiencing depression at a certain point were rewarded for results. Performance, being good at something, good in school, having good grades, results. Those two components equal love. That's what happened or happens in a lot of families. Why does it happen? Because that's the form of control that parents are using. Why are they using control? Of course they don't use it consciously. They probably don't even know that they are controlling. But what they're doing is they're trying to give their children the best experience, the best possible life in the future. They want to make sure that the child will be okay and successful. And in a society where everything is about performance, becoming someone, being someone, having titles, having money and all of those things, having security, the best tool to bring your child there is to control your child. And how do you do that? By recognition of good results. Which means if the child doesn't have good results, then it doesn't get the recognition, love will be taken away, or it will be shamed. So shame is then the under part of control, but it's part of the control mechanism. But shame is one of the most often used tools in our society to control children. And then that's the outcome. Imagine, you're a child, you're getting recognition and everything you want when you bring home good grades, when you succeed in something. And if you don't, either nobody says anything, or you're being kind of isolated, or maybe you need to do extra work or train more, train hard, or whatever it is. So you are connecting now results to love. And you're connecting control, even though it's nothing obvious at this time, but it's still there as a like garment or like a layer outside, like a skin or like a box or like a frame. Control is still part of it. And that's why, think about it, everybody tries to control their future. Everybody tries to control outcomes all the time. They want to know, they want to plan, they cannot fall into the unknown, and that things happen. They want to plan. So if you experience that, then all your life is now based on having things, achieving things. And why does that lead to depression, or can lead to depression and hold you in depression for maybe your whole life? It's because having is one of the trifactors. It's part of the duality. What is on the other side of having? It's being. What is the center of this duality? Where is the center? The center is doing things. And now usually people are doing things, which means performance, but they do things not because they love it, they do things because they want the results, because when they achieve something, then they feel good, then they are recognized, then they have self-worth, then they have stories to share with their friends or business partners, then they are someone. So it's always doing and then the result, to get the result. And the being part, because technically you can be loved just to be here, just to be part of the tribe, because you're sitting with us in the same boat, going through this weird human experience. You can be loved just for that, right? And we have seen probably people who are just being loved for that. No success, no high achievers, no success in nothing, but somehow they're loved by people. How is that possible? So we can observe it. It's already there. And the high achievers, they're stuck in the having thing, and the doing thing is then their tool. So it's always do have. Be, in this case, needs also be part of it, which means they're not authentic, which means they need to wearing a mask, because with their mask, they're changing themselves, so they become a person who can do the things to get the results, which they think makes them loved, or which brings them connection, recognition at the end, which is not true. When you ask them the question, when is it normal again? And you think about again, what it was again? What was it? What was in the past? What was normal? What was good? It was good to be successful. It was good to perform. It was good to be productive. But all of that only if the result is good. So you cannot perform, bring a lot of performance, do stuff, do hard things, and have a bad result, because then the performance was also nothing, and you are just bitter, and you again fall into that negative thought loops. And in that time when you're successful, when you have performance, when you're doing things or productive and you have success, then of course you like to be social, because now with your social people you can talk about stuff. How good you are, your results, what you found out. Maybe you can help other people with the things that you did already. But if you don't have results, then suddenly you don't want to meet anyone because you have nothing to share. And then you develop envy. You feel even bad when you listen what people have and you don't have it, because you crave it so much, because that's connected to your love and self-worth. And that's like the whole concept of why people don't get out of it, because their worldview depends on having equals love. And what they need to do now is to first figure out or understand that this concept exists. Then they need to figure out why it exists in their life, when it has been implemented, and in which ways. And oftentimes it's not obvious, because you think, but our parents loved us and they would never control us and never do anything bad. They would never do anything bad to us on purpose, and probably they love us. And that is why they're doing the things, because that's the best thing that they were able to do. It was the best thing. There was nothing better. I mean, think about it. People who are living with it become millionaires very quickly, usually. And they become very wealthy over time if they don't fall into depression. But if life is telling them, wait a minute, we have a different path for you, then the strategies from your childhood that were implemented oftentimes by the mother won't work anymore, because life tells you it's over. And how? By pulling out your energy into the new version, which is be, not have. That's the other side. Instead of having things, you're going through the hole, through the void, through the nothingness, all the numbness, doing a transformation there to come out as yourself, with the focus of being yourself, doing things because you love to do them, not because you can get out of it something later, like a lot of money, or like chances, or those kind of things. You do it because you just love to do things. And it's natural to have everything that you need always to follow your passions. Because that's how life works. A healthy system is always abundant, always. You never lack in something if you have a healthy system. And healthy system means it's a balanced system. So you need three things. You need to be, you need to do stuff, and of course you have results. But you cannot lean only towards one thing, like having. And that's what we do with that programming of control, of performance, of results, and this whole connection to your mother. It's the love language. It's like people who are having issues with food. Why do they have a lot of times issues with food? Because a lot of times food was a love language by the mother. You feed the child, eat, 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 eat. And when you're alone, when you're moving out, what do? You want love. We all want it. So you eat, 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 eat. And besides suppressing emotions, besides all the other things that food can do for you, good or bad, if you have the conditioning and the connection food to love, you are going to get sick sooner or later. It will not come out well, because you're leaning again towards one side. And you need to see what happened and disconnect it from love, and understanding that even if love is not being expressed, it's still there. It's always there. Because imagine your mom only loves you for your good results, and now you see the life different. Then what? Does it mean she doesn't love you anymore? No, it doesn't mean that. She just were not able to express it differently. But there are many layers to it. So you need to understand, just because you change it now doesn't mean that you abandon someone. You don't abandon your mom, your family. It's still there, the connection. It's just this layer that you are changing and transforming. And from there, you can start doing things in life without overthinking it and without overplanning it, because that's what happens. You're in depression, you get sometimes ideas, like flashes, like of your future, but then your mind comes in and tells you, oh, no, okay, these are the reasons, that's the list of reasons why you should not do it. Your mind doesn't want to do anything like that. Your mind wants to go back how it was before, but you have no way to go back because you don't have energy. You can do whatever you want, but your energy is gone. It's waiting for you on the other side. So the only way that you have now is to transform it, become more you, leaning more towards be and do, and not to do and have, or only have, basically. Because many people also think, if I get money, if I win the lottery, I didn't do nothing, but I have now something. Then I'm happy. Then people look up to me. So you only lean towards have. It's not working. Natural law. It's homeostasis. It's always the balance. It's always balancing out. So you need to balance out all three. And that's what you do then in depression at a certain time. Like you, of course, prepare your belief system first, and then you can start doing the things, reminding yourself about these concepts that you learned and you decided to adapt in your new life. Then you start to be who you be authentic. You just do whatever you feel without a result, just because you want to do it. And from there on, you will get feedback. You will get results from outside. And that's what's missing, because people say, yeah, but how can I know this is real? All my life I was loved and had everything when I got success. Yeah, you don't know. That's the comfort zone. You need to go out, and it's super scary out there. But that's what you need to face. That's the demon. You need to look it into the eyes, go out and do it until your learning zone, that's the fear zone, becomes your comfort zone again. So you need to build that positive feedback loop over time. After you understood the concept, implemented it, and then you are following it. So you are embodying what you did. And by the way, it's interesting because people who are experiencing that type of reason for depression, they also have a lot of times often a problem with losing in life. These are like perfectionists. They want a perfect win streak. So they do everything in a way, they turn everything in a way around so that it looks like they were always winning. They have this perfect career, And also, that doesn't work. You cannot become successful if you only win. Because again, where's the homeostasis? Where's the balance? It's not there. You need to lose, you need to win. You need to lose, you need to win. You need to balance it out. Then you are winning. You cannot be just on one side. The same like social media. You cannot just be, wow, amazing. No, you need the haters. You need the haters who talk shit about you, because that's a sign that you're winning. You need both sides again. Otherwise, it's not possible. And that's what these people then learn, because they're afraid of losing, and they will realize, wait a minute, losing is part of it. So losing is a sign of winning, and that's amazing. And then life changes, Then that's the way how they find slowly, step by step, what they really want to do. They create a positive feedback loop. And at one point, they're finding really out why they are here, who they really are, and what they really want in life and from life. And then life becomes like play and joyful, and you're completely out of that black hole.